For decades, the global energy grid relied on a slow, predictable mix of fossil fuels. Solar power was a boutique alternative, mostly confined to residential rooftops and small-scale pilot projects. China changed that math by treating solar manufacturing as a matter of national security. Driven by the 14th and 15th five-year plans, they rapidly scaled up production lines, turning vast stretches of empty desert into multi-gigawatt power plants. Achieving this volume of technology requires absolute precision. Inside hyper-automated cleanrooms, massive cylindrical silicon ingots are sliced into perfect paper-thin wafers. The scale of this operation has driven the cost of solar hardware to the floor, making it the cheapest source of electricity on the planet. This chart shows the resulting explosion in global demand. By 2025, worldwide solar module shipments hit 536 gigawatts, the highest recorded volume for the industry. A single gigawatt provides roughly the same power capacity as a large commercial nuclear reactor. Producing over 500 of them in a year requires a manufacturing apparatus operating at a relentless pace. But this chart reveals a financial paradox. As the shipment bars go up, corporate profit margins crash, plunging below the cost of production. Manufacturers engaged in a bitter price war to secure contracts, driving wholesale prices down to mere pennies per watt, wiping out billions of dollars in revenue across the sector. To stop the bleeding, the Chinese government intervened with anti-involution policies. These regulations are designed to curb below-cost pricing and forcibly restrict energy access for outdated, inefficient factories. The state is engineering a market consolidation to flush out the weakest producers. In the current market, pure manufacturing volume is no longer a defense mechanism. To stay alive through 2025, the remaining giants must deploy highly specialized technological advantages to justify their place on the grid. Starting at number 10 is Risen Energy. They have survived the price wars by abandoning standard panels to push heterojunction technology, or HJT. HJT is a hybrid cell design that captures sunlight on both sides of the panel to maximize energy yield. By refining this architecture, Risen pushed their commercial modules to a 740-watt power output. Number 9 is GCL System Integration. Their survival strategy focuses on carbon reduction. They manufacture panels using granular silicon, a refined raw material that requires significantly less electricity to produce than traditional silicon chunks. This allows GCL to capture the market for ultra-low carbon footprint panels. At number 8, DAS Solar operates as a younger upstart. They bypassed legacy supply chains by building their business around N-type solar cells. N-type cells are doped with phosphorus, which prevents the panel from losing power over its lifespan and guarantees long-term efficiency for buyers. Number 7 is Astronergy, a subsidiary of the massive Chint Group. While independent manufacturers burn through cash reserves, Astronergy relies on deep state-owned financial backing. That institutional stability makes them the default supplier for massive utility megaprojects that require guaranteed long-term warranties. Number 6, Tongwei, approaches the market through raw force. They originally built a monopoly on the world's upstream polysilicon, the highly purified base material used to create all standard solar cells. Armed with the lowest material costs on Earth, Tongwei pushed downstream, assembling its own finished modules and undercutting the rest of the market. Canadian Solar holds the number 5 spot. They insulate themselves from domestic price wars through a massive international sales network and a pivot into energy storage systems, or ESS. ESS are industrial battery banks that hold solar power for use after the sun goes down, offering a profitable second revenue stream. Ranks 10 through 5 prove that the middle of the pack is a war zone. These companies are surviving by locking down specific niches, whether that means raw material control, grid storage, or specialized cell architectures. Breaking into the top 4 requires a different level of influence. J Solar sits at number 4 by maintaining high factory utilization rates and the rapid industrialization of TOPCon 3.0 technology. TOPCon stands for Tunnel Oxide Passivated Contact, an architecture that adds an ultra-thin oxide layer to trap escaping electrons and boost power output. Trina Solar, at number 3, plays the role of industry standardizer. They forced the global market to adopt the massive 210mm wafer ecosystem. These oversized silicon squares generate more total power per panel than older, smaller formats, forcing competitors to either retool their factories or lose market share. At number 2, LONGi Green Energy operates as the tech maverick. While the rest of the industry spent billions retooling factories for TOPCon panels, LONGi took a financial risk. They shifted their production weight toward a completely different architecture, known as back contact. This 3D diagram shows why LONGi made the switch. On a standard solar cell, silver electrical grid lines sit directly on top of the silicon, blocking a percentage of incoming sunlight. Back contact technology moves all of that electrical wiring to the bottom layer. It is more difficult to manufacture, but it leaves an unobstructed surface to absorb maximum light. Finally, at number 1 sits Jinko Solar. They hold the crown through sheer scale. By committing early to N-type TOPCon manufacturing, they flooded the global market with efficient panels at a volume no other company could match. These top 4 companies dictate the baseline technological standards for the sector. Their internal R&D cycles set the efficiency targets and pricing structures that every other solar project on Earth must follow. This pie chart captures the concentration of power resulting from the 2025 price wars. Just 4 companies now control 58% of the 536 gigawatt global solar module market. By operating at this scale, these giants are exporting clean energy deflation. They are packaging cheap, efficient electricity into shipping containers and sending it to emerging markets across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, driving down the global cost of decarbonization. This map illustrates the geopolitical response to Western trade barriers. The US and Europe have erected tariffs to block cheap imports. In response, these firms are building localized, multi-gigawatt factories directly inside the United States and establishing new manufacturing hubs in the Middle East. This geographic expansion shifts the industry away from a simple model of building in China and exporting outward. It replaces linear trade routes with a complex, worldwide web of localized production facilities optimized by centralized engineering teams. The period of hundreds of fragmented solar grants has ended. The price wars cleared the board. Moving forward, the physical infrastructure of the global energy transition relies on the survival and relentless efficiency of a handful of undisputed Chinese giants.